I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
I'm good.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see you. It's been a few months.
Yes, the last time we saw each other was in Hawaii.
Yes,
How how
yes.
how how is your daughter doing?
Oh, she's doing really well. She is still producing music, and she just produced a piece of music for a video that our digital magazine, Go World Travel, just released. And
Oh,
so that,
fantastic.
yeah, that was nice. Yeah.
Oh,
And
excellent. Yes. Well,
yeah,
Janna, describe yourself in one word.
storyteller.
There you go. And I believe that too. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, now, what was your motivation or your inspiration to become a journalist, editor, and producer?
Um, I think just because I do like to tell stories, that's something that our family does to entertain ourselves as we tell stories of past things we've done. And so when I went in to become a journalist, I was working as a regular journalist and a lot of hard things and sad stories. And then I got a travel story. Um, and
And that
once I
changed the whole
got
world.
into travel journalism, I was like, now this is
Yeah.
a story I want to tell. And so that's what I've been doing for the past 15, 18 years is just basically telling the stories of travel.
Yeah, and I can tell too when my wife and I met you that you enjoyed what you were doing, and I don't blame you either. Oh yeah,
Yes,
I mean
it,
you figure for what you do though. I mean it's a lot of work too,
of
but
course. Yes, it really is. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
and I know that by doing what you're doing, even though with all the hard work though, but you really get a chance to really see the world.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I think I might get 62 countries so far. And it really does enrich your life when you get to see how other cultures live and their histories and their stories, and it just adds to your worldview and your
Ex- ex-
perspective.
exactly. Now, being a journalist, now, do you feel one of the most important tasks for any writer is note taking, followed by documentation, editing, and then execution?
Well, it used to be just note taking, but now I feel that I use the tools of shooting video,
Hmm.
shooting photos, and also note taking. To because sometimes when you go back and you see the some of the video that you've shot, that's right there in real
Hmm.
life. You can see the whole picture. So I think it's a combination of using the tools that are available to you today, which is or sound recordings, video, notes, all of the above.
Right, yes. Now, how critical is it to have an editor critique your work?
Having an editor is huge. Unfortunately, with like in journalism today, in a lot of newsrooms, that is one of the copywriter went or copy readers went first, and then fact checkers, and then so that role has really shrunk in past years, at least in the newsroom. But when you're writing, um, an editor sharpens your work. An
Hmm.
editor sees holes that you don't have. Um, your mind kind of fills in facts and but yet what you've written may leave the reader with a lot of questions. So that's part of the editor's role is to see if you're really telling the whole story.
That's correct. And also, I tell all the authors that it's so critical that you have someone critique your work, edit it, because
Absolutely.
once you put it out there, I
It's
mean,
out there.
that's
Yes.
right. So that
Yes.
I mean, and
Absolutely.
I think that can either destroy
Make or
somebody
break.
or exactly, yeah. Now, also as a producer, you
Mhm.
oversee the writers, editors, print, and locations. So how important is understanding the process of your work before it gets into the hands of the reader?
Oh, I've learned that process
Mm.
through trial and error. I
Yes.
sometimes I think um, it's not something that a beginning writer or a beginning content producer has innately. It's something that you learn over time. I've also learned some ways to tweak process by watching others and
Hmm.
learning from others in the field. Um, but it is, you know, having that process and having your norm down so that you don't have holes or you don't miss something is really key.
Yeah, 'cause I think it's like, I guess, any profession though, you can shadow someone, and then you can
Absolutely.
understand what they do and the daily tasks and so on. And and
Yes.
and if you it's always good to get the hands-on experience. It's not. Always the
Yeah.
book savvy, you know.
Right.
It's always good to it's always like, if you're in school and you have someone that's actually doing the work, and
Yes.
and then you have someone from school that just takes over, and then you can see it's like, well, you don't understand, you know.
Exactly. And exactly. Sometimes you just have to get out there and try to. With it, when we bring new staff on board at Go World Travel Magazine, sometimes I tell them, okay, I'm going to toss you a little bit into the deep end, but we're going to give you the tools and we're going to teach you along the way. But I want to see you swim, and that's really the best way that you're going to learn is, okay, you're going to try and tackle this story, and maybe you're not quite sure, but I want try first and then we'll guide you along the way.
Uh,
And, sometimes you just have to
that's right.
try it.
That's right.
Sometimes you can over edit and you can over critique your work so that you never produce it. So sometimes you just have to do it and then, have others,
Yeah.
give you tips and information to make it better.
You can always overthink something and then still
Mhm.
not go anywhere.
Right. Right.
now, now,
Yes.
now, Jana, let's talk about three of your many edited pieces.
Yeah.
Now, the first one is Adventures of a Lifetime,
Yes.
Travel Tales from Around the World.
Yes. I brought it today.
Awesome.
It is.
Fantastic.
I don't know if you can see it there.
It's a little blurry. Yeah,
Little
yeah,
blurry. Maybe you can see it there.
yeah, yeah, a
Still
little bit.
blurry.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So this Adventures of a Lifetime is an anthology. And so it has some of my own work, but it also has work of more than 20 other writers. And it's all first person stories of how travel has changed someone. And in this particular book, it's how incredible adventures of a lifetime have made an impact on this person. So yes, there are travel, but there's always actually more of a character arc in these kinds of stories, and learning and painting a picture. I love this first person storytelling form. I
Yes.
think it's really enriching, and I love anthologies too because you can just read a short story and then put it down.
Right,
And pick it up
right.
whenever you need. Yeah.
And I remember when we were on the islands there, my wife and I would run into you and your daughter here and there. And I think that's really cool though, because you at the same time you're enjoying your vacation, but you're still, I think, taking things in,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
And I think that's wonderful. And I think that's a great experience for her too.
Oh, yes. Yes. She's definitely a traveler. She's lived in Europe for school. She went and lived in Israel for a little bit for school. And I think that has been passed down to my kids, that
Yeah.
travel bug. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good bug to have, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now let's talk about chance encounters, and
Yes.
and now that's the travel tales from around the world too.
Yes. So you probably can't see that one either, but
Just closer. Yeah, okay, it's a little blurry,
still
but
fuzzy.
yeah.
Still fuzzy. Um, so this is a book that talks about how people that we meet when we're traveling can change our day, they can change our experience, or they can change your life. And so these are, I think it's like 24 stories in there. A couple are mine, but there are many other very good writers in the book. And they're all talking about just how some chance encounter somewhere in the world changed them.
Hmm.
And so I love it. There's so many different stories. And sometimes it was just a person they met on a plane, or another woman, a woman, someone they were hiking next to on a trail in Japan. Just so many interesting
Yes.
stories of how life has changed just because they crossed paths with someone while traveling.
Well, we met, right?
Yes, we did. Exactly. Sitting right next to each other
That's
at
right.
dinner one night.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think too that's so true though, is they're not just stories, they're firsthand stories of people that
Real.
experience, yeah, exactly. Now, what was your process of getting the other people involved?
Oh man. Well, we put out a call for submissions, which is often what anthologies do. Work and put that out to many, many writers associations across the country. And we got hundreds of stories. And so I had a couple others on our team who we just read. I personally went to an island in Sweden for a week and just took all of these manuscripts that had come in to our inbox and just read them. Sat there in the long midnight sun in the summer day and just read. And we selected our top stories, and that's what appeared in the book.
That is awesome. Um, Now, let's talk about the other one. It's called Pink Suitcases. Or, I'm
Yes.
sorry, Pink Suitcase 22
Yep.
Tales of Women's Travel.
Yep. You can't see that one. It's a little bit
Yeah.
blurry here with Google Meet, but
Yeah.
that one's also very fun. It's all women and women writers, female writers who have shared stories of some of their, some are adventures, some are ways that travel healed them in a particular time in their life.
Hmm.
Some were finding resolve when they didn't have it right away, but through tackling some kind of journey, they were able to find strength that they didn't know they had. And so all kinds of, some are fun, some are
Yes.
really moving. So a lot of just incredible stories by some very talented writers.
Now, do you have like any certain ones that stand out that really sort of touched you?
Oh man. I have someone who decided, one of our writers, she had decided to hike the 1,400 miles of the Appalachian Trail after going through a really hard divorce and
Mm.
just being, kind of crushed and having, no confidence in herself. And so she decided to try something completely on her own for
Hmm.
a very challenging hike. And just how by the end you can see through her journey her gathering strength and resolve, and I really love that. um, yeah, we have another writer who talks about they decided to leave their jobs and they are sailing the world with their toddler and their finicky cat who only eats fresh fish that they bring up when fishing. Yeah, so just lots of really fun, incredible stories.
That is
Um,
cool, though. I mean, to really hear other people's adventures,
yes,
I mean, good and bad. I mean, it's something that, and I've always said too that everybody has a story. Y-
everybody has a story.
Yes,
Everybody. I mean, and when you travel, you gather more stories than usual
that's
because
correct.
you're out of your norm, you're seeing new things, you're experiencing new things, you're meeting new people. So, your stories that you gather in travel are huge. We all have those when we travel.
Now, do you keep in touch with a lot of people that you've over the years?
Absolutely. And that's the beautiful thing about social media too.
Yes.
Like I worked with a hotel in Hong Kong more than 12 years ago. And the lady that helped me at the hotel when I was doing some work for them, she and I still talk all the time on social media. I mean, and she, we may never ever see each other in person again.
But but
But
it's a friend.
yeah, yeah, it's really fun. I've, seen all these milestones in her life, and she's seen some milestone in my life. And that's the beauty of social media. And people that you travel with and, and cruising, you can meet some really great people. And I know, yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've talked to other cruisers that have met cruisers that they travel with every year. I mean, I'm sure you might have
Yeah.
crossed some of these people too. So yeah, I love that I can find kindred spirits
Yes.
across the world
That's
and
correct. Yeah.
different nationalities and
I think that's a blessing too, though. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, people are people.
Yeah,
You need to expand your horizons. It's.
yeah,
I mean, I always tell people too, though, even like when you're just taking a week off, or you're retired, and don't be a homebody.
Yeah.
just get out there.
Yeah.
Just explore. I mean, just go into a state park. Just get out there and connect with nature. Just you know, just get out doing something that
Be
you
curious.
exactly.
Yeah. And even in your own home state, I realized that during COVID that there was a lot that I could explore just, right around here that I had never seen before.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, you can
yeah,
live yeah, exactly. You can live close to something and never see it, you know.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, as a worldly traveler, what are some of the most challenging experiences in writing you faced?
Yeah. Sometimes being overwhelmed with too much information
Mm.
and,
And
trying to
deadlines.
condense that. Yeah, trying to condense that into, a story of 2,000 words, or um, how do you encapsulate this grand story into a tiny piece that someone can read with their morning coffee?
Right.
Back in the day, I worked for the Chicago Tribune, and they would give me a whole page for a story, a whole page. And those pieces really are rare anymore. A lot of us, well, me too, we don't have really long attention spans. So writing shorter is often the most challenging for me, at least.
So is it like the detail, or is it just trying to, I guess, capture their attention and keep them reading what you wrote?
Absolutely. Just capturing, bringing them into the story
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That you don't get much time to bring anyone into a story anymore, especially online. You've got to bring that in quickly, and then you've got to share like the biggest nuggets of that story. You may have so many other things you want to include, but you just can't. Especially like for our online travel site, our digital magazine, Go World Travel. Um, we only get so much time for that article, right?
Yes.
And so in online publishing, you also have to worry about the search engines and the SEO, and so you're kind of have competing goals that you have to do. So it's a challenge.
Yes. Yes, it is. Now, do you have to do all that too? Worry about the you have to worry about everything.
Absolutely, you have to worry about everything so that the search engines bring those pieces when someone's searching for, hey, when is the best time to go to Bali? We
Right.
look at our article, comes right up. So yes, it's so frustrating with online publishing. That's true. So I love print. I still, work for print magazines and do print content, but the world is moving a lot of it online. So we have to adapt
Yes,
as the publishing world adapts.
that's correct. Now, also as a presenter, now what advice can you provide to someone who wants to be a writer?
Um, read other writers
Yes.
that you like. Actually, when I first started to go into journalism, I went to the library, I went to Barnes and Noble, and I just found all these magazines that I liked. Got books written by other writers, journalists, and I just like consumed all of those. And then I went through all the magazines and looked like, what is this magazine cover, and what's their style of writing, and I think learning by reading is a huge tool for
Mm-hmm.
a new writer, especially. Um, See what's out there, and see if you can match that with some of your attempts. If you're going for a certain magazine, or if you're going for a website, then read what they have and try to understand how they communicate it.
Now, over the years, have you seen like the quality change of like writers?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
There definitely is a quality change. That doesn't mean there aren't great writers out there. Um, some of our younger writers, as they've come in to work for our magazine, just even reminding them that you can't write email like you would write a text.
Right. Yes.
You have to be professional. If you can't show me that you can write a pitch letter in, very professional sounding English, then why would I hire you to write
Right.
a piece?
Yes, because actually, when they're writing, that's going to reflect on you.
Yes, absolutely. So show me in your very, very first communication. I get queries that don't have capitalization, that use the letter U for you. I mean, it's like a text, but um,
Yes.
that just tells me you aren't serious about being a writer, and because you can't even write your pitch in excellent English. So
Right. Yeah. Now,
yeah.
now is like one of your, I don't want to say like pet peeves. Would that be if you don't write a sentence correctly or a paragraph, does that sort of like a red flag right away?
It doesn't have to be perfect. You can just tell me that you can write a story.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little story in your pitch, and then just use basic,
Yeah.
capitalization. And that's not all writers, of course. There's many, many talented writers that obviously are very professional, and some of them are only 22 years old. Their age doesn't really have much to
Right.
do with it.
Yeah.
But my real pet peeve is when writers send me a pitch, and this happens a lot for travel sites, and they'll be like, "Hey, I'm going to Lisbon, and I'd love to write a story." Well, what? Yeah.
Right.
What is your story? What is your angle?
That
Why?
that is a story. I'm going to Lisbon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What
Yeah.
about? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, yeah,
That's
and and unfortunately, I get a lot, sometimes from seasoned writers that are like that. So, yeah, that's my pet peeve.
okay. Yeah. Now, what projects are you currently working on?
Um, we are mostly putting effort into building our magazine site and just fleshing that out and making it deeper with guides, travel guides, which kind of need to be evergreen, but then always updated. Also a challenge.
Yes.
So mostly that. I am also doing a lot more speaking,
Uh,
doing some for the cruise line that we met on
yes.
recently, and I really enjoyed that. I like sharing the stories of travel, also in
I think
speaking sessions.
I think that's a wonderful opportunity for you as well to do that,
Yeah, yeah,
especially on the cruise lines,
yeah.
because
It's fun.
you meet people from all around the world.
Absolutely. I've spoken a couple times on the Ultimate World Cruise for World Caribbean, and that's a interesting crowd because some these I think like 700 of them are traveling for 10 months or 9 months. So that's a hardcore traveler right there.
Have you done that too?
Yeah, I've never traveled like that, but I've hopped onto that ship
Sure.
and spoken, and then leave them but they're still going around the world. Yeah.
Wow. Now, when you do presentations like that, do you get a lot of people contacting you after you do a
Yeah,
presentation?
sometimes, yeah, sometimes, immediately right after, and a lot of them just have questions.
Sure.
They're just like, hey,
Now,
but
now,
yeah, it's
yep.
fun.
Now, will you ever write your own book on the do's and don'ts of your travels?
If I do write my own book, it will probably be an anthology, just of my own stories.
Yes.
There's so many, and people always ask me, "Oh, what's your favorite country?" It's like, oh my goodness, where how do you even begin?
Or
Um,
you could always break it down too to have like, you can have
it's a great idea. It's just by geography, like Africa, stories from Africa,
yeah.
stories from Australia. Yeah, definitely.
I think
Extreme.
I think that'll be a great way of, especially talking about your own travels, but also promoting your own stuff too. You know.
That's a great idea, Brad. That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm full of them, so yeah, I think why not?
Why not?
You hear other people doing it, and I think especially in the profession you're in, that's like an open door for opportunities for you.
And it's so fun to write those first person stories. That's my favorite form of writing. I think it's also one of the hardest forms of writing,
Mm.
um,
Hmm.
because you can't be too like me. You have to give information, so you have to weave,
Yes.
your perspective through, the real story that's happening outside of you.
Right.
So
But I think you should at least think about it, you know?
that's a great idea. And I love that idea to organize it.
Yeah.
Yes, there's definitely another book or two in me.
Good.
Yeah.
Hopefully more. Yeah.
More, yeah, for sure.
Now, do you have a
Mhm.
website besides like if someone wanted to contact you, what is your website, Jana?
So my website is jannagraber.com. And then our digital world travel magazine is goworldtravel.com.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, where are you going next?
I'm going to Spain. I'm going to hop on a sailing ship
Oh
called
my,
the Star Clipper. My husband's coming with me on that.
nice.
And they have huge sails. It's more than 100 passengers can go on this ship, but it's often is moving under sail. And so that's fun. We'll be going to the islands, Spanish islands, and then heading to like Corsica, France, and eventually we'll end up in Rome.
Nice. Oh, that'd be
Yeah.
real nice. Now, like even on vacation, when you just go on vacation and not
Mhm.
with work, do you still sort of, keep like notes or
Yeah, it's so hard to like go on vacation. A couple months ago, actually, one of my daughters just had a baby, and so we went with her and her husband and the baby, and my husband and I, and we rented a house on near the Poipu Beach in Hawaii,
nice?
and we decided that it was only going to be a vacation, no working allowed, and we just spent so much time on the beach, and I couldn't remember the last time I just like
Yes.
just
Yeah.
do nothing. And I'm not writing anything. I'm not making notes. I'm just relaxing on the beach. So it's hard for me to do, but boy, was that fun.
I bet. Now,
Yeah.
cause I know when I mean, it has to be very difficult, but just for the fact of even if you're just out there, you know, dirt bike riding and stuff,
Yes,
I'm sure in the back of your mind you're thinking, oh, I need to
I I could do
remember.
this.
Yeah.
Yes, I can write a story on this. Yeah, one time I took my husband on a trip, and where were we? Some like Keys or something in Florida, and we were going to a beach, and he goes, "Wait, is this a vacation?" Like I was like, "Yeah, this is like a real vacation. We don't have to do, a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't have to write about it." He's like, "Oh," so he didn't. He sometimes he comes along and he doesn't, you know,
Yeah.
he gets a good gig, that one,
Yeah.
he often gets to come along on my writing trips, and he just
Yeah.
can enjoy it.
No, does he write too? No.
No, he works in TV, actually. He, has a video production company and, as a cameraman and
Nice.
director. Yeah,
Nice. That's awesome. See,
yeah,
there's a good connection there.
absolutely. So sometimes he does come along with me, and he'll shoot video
Yeah,
stories for me, but,
that's
um,
awesome.
yeah, it's fun.
Now, where do you see like in another 10 years, where do you see yourself sort of being
I think doing the same thing.
doing the same thing? That's awesome.
Yeah, I really love it. Yeah, I would do this often. I think the money is like secondary for me. Of course, I
Yeah,
need to make a living,
right.
um, but it's really fun. Of course, not everything with publishing and online publishing. There's always the hassle of keeping up with all the changing technologies and changing search engine optimizations, and there's always that kind of work, but as far as the
Yeah.
exploring and then going back to write about it, that's always fun. Yeah.
Now, is there one place where you haven't been yet that you really want to?
Antarctica, Antarctica is a
Oh, nice.
yeah, so sometime I need to get down there and in the
And
Antarctic summer.
and write your own book on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
I'd like to do an expedition cruise to Antarctica, because those, when you're in a smaller ship, then
yes.
you can get into better places and land and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
because you actually talk about not just like the travel part or the adventure, but you also talk about the food and everything too, right?
Yes, yes, yeah, like who to go with, what to do, tips for when you travel to those locations. Yeah, so helpful information for travelers. Yeah.
Is there something that is like common for traveling or not? I guess it depends on where you're going.
It definitely depends on where you're going. I think it helps to read a little bit about where you're going
Yeah,
so that you sometimes, here you are looking at this great Colosseum, but if you don't have a guided tour and you're on your own, you might not catch all of its significance.
right.
So sometimes I feel just reading a little bit before you go,
Do your
which is the
research.
point of, yeah, do your research, which is kind of the point of what we provide to our readers is
Yeah.
just so you are going to go to Tahiti. Well, let's tell you a little bit about the history and what you can do there and where you might want to eat and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
See, do you do that type of like a video where, like, if someone wants to go to Tahiti, they can click on it, and then you'll be talk or somebody be talking about the pros and cons and what you should be looking for, and
We do sometimes. We don't do it all the time. But yes, definitely video is a huge tool
mm-hmm.
for that kind of information. Yeah. And like my husband and I went to Africa and did a 4 country trip, and he shot videos like at, all these different stops along the way. So that piece has all the content that I've written and then all the videos that he produced, interviewing like a game park warden in Chobe National Park or this person at a safari lodge. And so those kind of pieces that are video and written content, I think are really powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And another thing too, because I'm assuming you take a lot of pictures.
Yes, tons. Yes.
So that's another option, another a photo book.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yes,
You know,
yes, yes.
not just like talking about the pros and cons, but also a visual where people can see, like a tabletop book.
Okay, well, yeah. Oh, the photo photography is like one of my favorite parts of the travel research, and just for myself too.
Sure.
I have everything going into Google Photos, and when you have it all uploaded to that cloud, then you can just go pull up Google Photos and you can just type in Sydney, and then automatically all your Sydney photos come up because they're already geotagged. So
Yes.
that's really a fun, easy way to manage my thousands of photos.
But I mean, because I've talked to other people that are photographers,
Yeah.
and they never thought about a book. And I said,
Yeah,
well,
and
I
books
said,
are fun. Yeah,
yeah. Uh, and
absolutely.
that's like with my cloud book, it was the same thing. You think about clouds. Well, you put it in a book and all color, and I mean, it's a nice thing to have.
It is, absolutely. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
not
I
just,
love
yeah,
yeah, and there's just something about a book,
that's right.
just
Yeah.
the feel of the book and, yeah, absolutely.
It's not, I mean, it's nice to have the Kindle and that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
but actually a physical book where you can, look at it anytime too, and it's in your hands.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, some of my favorite things to see when I travel around the world is libraries, you know
Libraries.
oh, just in Europe, especially these ancient, huge libraries. Oh, it's just like, oh, I love
Oh,
it.
oh man. See the
And
knowledge, right?
yeah, right,
That's
surrounded by all that.
yes. Well, Jana, this has been fantastic, and it's sure great to see you again.
Good to see you again too. I hope you guys are doing well and have some
Yes.
fun adventures planned. Where are you going next?
I'm not sure. I think we may head over to Mount Rushmore.
Oh, cool. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
And now that it's spring and going into summer should be beautiful there.
Yes. And after that, I'm not sure what next other cruise we're
Yep.
taking, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
Yes.
Very cool.
But I wish you the very best, and please keep me in the loop of your projects and
I will
yeah,
do that, Brad. Thank
yes.
you so much for your time. It was great chatting with you.
You too, and tell your daughter I said hi, and I'm glad
I'll
that
do
she's
that.
doing well. And but again, keep in touch, and I thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Jana. Have a great day.
Okay. See ya.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.